Welcome to Friday 15 with Master B2B. I am loving that new music. My name is Brian Beck. I'm here with Andy Hoare, co-founders of the Master B2B e-commerce community and thought leadership series. This is our Friday 15 here at the end of January 2025. Andy, welcome to another Friday. We got a great topic we're talking about today.
Yeah, we do. And I'm going to kick things off with the big news of the last week, which was unrelated to B2B directly, but related to probably every business going forward. And it's the story about,
You can't mess up the music, Andy. Come on, you got to wait for the music.
I think you wrote that yourself too, so.
That's true. Well, okay, so DeepSeek sparks AI stock sell-off. NVIDIA posts record market cap lost. If it's true, okay, I'll just read the one quote here. What is this DeepSeek thing? Well, if it's true that DeepSeek is the proverbial better mousetrap, this is for AI, and this comes out of China, it could mean less demand for chips, less need for a massive build-out of power production to fuel the models, and less need for large-scale data centers. Andy, what is this all about?
Yeah, so we're all familiar with ChatGPT, Anthropic, all these Gen AI models. Been in market for a good year and a half now, kind of really changed how people think about work and will going forward. But the one challenge with those Gen AI models is that they require a lot of power and a lot of compute. Because the analogy I heard that I think really works well is like ChatGPT is like going to the library and having one librarian who knows and has read every book in the library. And you go to that person, the AI model, ask a question, and then they will search all the books very quickly and come back with an answer. DeepSeek actually, for a lot of reasons, has a different approach, and they don't actually have a librarian who knows the entire library. They have specialists, somebody who knows maybe cooking or science. And as a result, they don't require as much compute power. They don't require as much energy to give you an answer back. And the question was, theoretically, could sort of a narrow seek, be as powerful as a broad seek? Would you get the same quality of answer? And in the initial testing, the answer is yes. Now, they claim they did this for $5 million, train the whole model, but there's a lot of suspicion that, in fact, they were using NVIDIA chips that were black market chips. There's a lot of suspicion that they've been training their model against, get ready for this, OpenAI's data.
Right.
Yep. OpenAI is complaining that, hey, wait a minute, you can't use our data to train your model. Well, how did OpenAI train its model? Using everybody else's data. So that's pretty good. But yeah, so that's the story about DeepSeek. Some of it's probably very true. At least the approach seems right. Some of the details around it seem quite inaccurate and probably exaggerated and frankly false around whether they use chips and all that kind of stuff. But we'll see, but this is a very fascinating model. We know it's fascinating because Silicon Valley has replied back saying, wait a minute, they did something different here. They may have a better mousetrap.
That's what they're referring to in this article. Yeah, so we'll see how this plays out, and it's a fascinating topic. And, there's so much noise and around AI. I think, from a B2B practitioner standpoint, trying to figure out what it means for them. We'll help you keep the pulse on this, folks, so that we can you can
apply note. It's open source too, which means they lay it out right before you what they do. And if it really is a lot less expensive, it could change how people use AI in a whole bunch of different ways, which we'll keep you guys plugged into.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, our topic for today is a follow-up to our topic last week. Today, we want to know, how do you measure the true impact of e-commerce in B2B? So last week, Andy, on our last Friday 15, we talked about, is percentage of a company's total revenue a good measure of this? And what's interesting, of digital maturity or digital success, and, we concluded in our podcast last week, our Friday 15 session, that no, it can actually be misleading. And the industry, the world of our LinkedIn communities agreed, no, 58% said, no, it can be a misleading metric. And, really this ties back to the, kind of the iceberg analogy that we've given in quite a few times here. And I've used this for years in retail and now B2B e-commerce. When you look at e-commerce sales, you're really only looking at the tip of the iceberg in terms of its impact. Not only that, in B2B, we have the added complexity of businesses where digital may play a role in the buying journey, but almost all the sales require consultation or complexity that only a human really can deliver, at least today. We'll see what DeepSeek has to say about this in the future, right? But anyhow, the the point here is that what metrics can you use then to accurately measure this if percentage of revenue is not a good one? So we shared some of these last week. What other KPIs are there? Well, you've got things like average order value, share of customer wallet, which happens to be one of my favorites. How well are you doing capturing the potential overall share, regardless of channel, of the customer spend in your category? Customer lifetime value. How much is that customer worth to you over time? Profitability for per order or cost to serve. We had some comments on that in LinkedIn around, some people preferred that model. Cost to serve. Customer satisfaction, for example, a net promoter score. How well are you doing satisfying your customers? How often are they purchasing? There's and what else? We've got things like conversion rate and bounce rate on the website. We got all kinds of different metrics that can be used here. But the challenge with many of them is that there's single channel, and if they're multi-channel, you get into attribution, and how do you measure specifically e-commerce's impact on that? When we asked this question last week, we got a lot of e-com pros kind of weighing in. One of them was Deidre Peters, head of digital e-commerce at Boston Scientific, and she was talking about, and I highlight this because analytics gymnastics, right? She said an account may not order through e-commerce, but they order from us due to their usage of e-commerce. So, mainly tied to product information, more accurate inventory, post-order care, things like that. So,
one of the challenges of this is, manufacturers and distributors are different animals in B2B. And Deidre is with a manufacturer. With distributors, you really do need to be able to tie these purchases back because, there is an alternative. You could just call a sales rep, right? If you're a brand manufacturer where your site is more informational and people use it to research as opposed to, say, transact, it calls into question sometimes what's the real value of digital if companies and buyers are not purchasing as much online. See, with the distributors, they can attribute revenue to that. With manufacturers, it's a little more complicated. That's what Deirdre's getting at here. It's like we have people who do everything but buy online. So there's a lot of value here, but how do I justify this to my bosses?
Yes, exactly. The challenge is more acute for a manufacturer. Absolutely agree. So, we said, well, gosh, wouldn't it be great if we could ask Deirdre directly what she actually measures? And wait, there she is. How'd she appear? Where'd she come from? Deirdre, were you reading our mind here? Oh, wait a minute. So, Deirdre, thank you for your comment on LinkedIn. Deidre Peters is here with us on Friday 15 this week. Thank you, Deirdre, for agreeing to appear. It's not a surprise, but anyway, tell us about what you do. Tell us about, your role.
So longtime fan, super honored to be on this Friday 15 episode. So my name is Deidre Peters, and I am head of digital commerce here at Boston Scientific. We started this e-commerce program within the medical device industry about 4 years ago, and it's taken off like wildfire with our customers. But to your point, there are ways of speaking about it within the industry and within our company that are important to understand because it's an investment. You're going up against medical devices and research and R&D that could also use investment to keep our pipeline fresh. So when you're looking for digital investment, it's really important to know what metrics you're tracking and why you're tracking them and how to read into them to tell a better story.
Tell us, Deirdre, a little bit about, so Boston Scientific medical company, traditionally, not as Andy, was describing, a distributor. I mean, you're not necessarily, selling all these products via e-commerce, but you still have to make digital investments. So tell us more about the traditional sort of how you guys sell. Is it through the sales team, through distribution? Tell us about how you sell.
Yeah. So we are a manufacturer, as you pointed out. We make medical devices across a number of different specialties. We're about a $15 billion company. And we, obviously we know digital is really important, and we know that getting that experience on par with the quality of our products is important. But our customers do work through our sales force. We have many reps who are highly clinically trained.
Right.
And one of the biggest goals for us is with these clinically trained reps who are in cases with physicians, advising them on how to use the product, is getting that administrative burden off of them. And so what started out as an e-commerce program has really grown into more of self-service for both customers and reps, with the number one goal of saving time for the rep, but also getting that empowerment into the hands of the customer so that we do reduce things like inquiries into our customer service organization.
Okay. So you're measuring. Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
So how did they order before e-commerce? Was it through like an ERP, direct channel in the ERP? And how has that changed now? Are your customer... Oh, go ahead. I'll just let you answer.
Yeah, we have a variety of order methods. EDI is still up there. A good portion of sales go through EDI. But we had phone, fax, believe it or not, email, all kinds of different manual methods. And what we've seen since we launched e-commerce very broadly is an extreme decline in manual order methods. So we even went from 25% of sales in certain categories, not categories, but certain types of customers, to 7% and even 5%, and it continues to trend downward. Fax has all but been eliminated at this point. So you've seen a seismic shift in the last 4 years away from manual order methods towards more of the digital order methods. But where we thought this was going to go was actually more revenue through e-commerce. And where we've actually landed is realizing that the self-service features, what we consider to be everything but ordering, are extremely well used. We get great feedback from customers, but what's happening is we're not capturing through standard metrics the success of the program. We're not capturing the customer satisfaction. So for us, about a year ago, we had to start looking at things differently when we started to tip with more accounts using it for self-service than for ordering. So go ahead. I know you're gonna.
No. So that actually, the question. So it's not e-com. You got some e-commerce penetration, right? It's to that original point.
Yep.
But you talk about analytics gymnastics, right? In your response to our LinkedIn post. What metrics? I mean, cost to serve. Certainly, you mentioned something about that. What metrics? How do you measure that? So someone plays, they research online, they use their self-serve tools. Maybe they go on, they order through EDI or through the sales team. Yeah. How do you measure that? What KPIs do you use?
Well, that's where the analytics gymnastics comes in. So it's about telling the whole customer story across the journey. So looking at how much they're spending across all channels when they do and don't have access to e-commerce. It's looking at their engagement with the site. Are they using it? And then tying that from our biggest accounts who used to inquire internally with us the most via phone, where's my order? Is X product in stock? When will it be back in stock? Do you have the tracking information? Do you have the invoice? I have the invoice, but I can't pay it until I have a packing slip. I threw it out when it came with the box. Those are all just examples of the types of inquiries that we get into our customer service and our sales team. Yeah. And reducing that is also a big win for our company. So for us, it's tying that total lifetime value of a customer, looking at the sales increase when they do or don't have e-commerce, measuring stickiness. And obviously that goes into lifetime value, but we're seeing e-commerce customers stay with us at a 98% rate and 80 to 83% overall for non-e-commerce customers. So it's looking, certainly revenue is king, revenue uplift is huge, but we have to justify our digital investment internally and sell this to the executive and the board team members who may not fully understand e-commerce. We have to get down to basics and start tying those, customer stories to metrics like the ones I mentioned in order to continue justifying the investment.
And the executives understand this. So, I mean, these can be these can be difficult to communicate, some of these metrics, and particularly as you're thinking about ROI and hey, I need to spend, X million dollars on a new system. Here's the ROI. Have you been able to successfully communicate these metrics to the executives?
To some extent, I think that's a work in progress. It's an art, not a science.
Right.
And I bring everything back to storytelling. We can sit and spit numbers at people, and you may get into a steering committee meeting and just have vomit numbers at people, but they don't mean anything in a vacuum. And so what we do is we try to say, okay, let's look at one of our largest health systems. They were doing X, Y, and Z with us. They were calling in, their reps were exhausted, fulfilling administrative tasks, and just storytell. Take that and craft the reasons that a company like a giant health system would want to continue working with Boston Scientific. When they feel taken care of as a customer, they will naturally stay with you and purchase more. And then the rep is a big piece of that as well. Like, how are we empowering that rep to help out, save more patient lives by being in more cases and able to help physicians be more efficient and have better patient outcomes. So that's everything we do here is tied to that.
So Deirdre, have you ever had any direct examples? I was talking with somebody this week, just total coincidence, who told me that they had a client who bought 10 new things from them, something they'd never bought before. At the same time, they had analytical evidence that same client had looked at those same 10 things online. And they were able to say, look, there's just no way this isn't causal. Brand new, heavy evidence of looking at this. Have you been able to establish that kind of metric, that kind of reasoning?
Yeah, so I would say when it comes to metrics, we're in the process of what are the metrics to look at to try to illustrate things like that. Anecdotally, yes, we've seen a ton of that. We have customers who will view kind of, within privacy regulations, obviously, will view kind of what products have they looked at, where do they not purchase currently, but are viewing products, and can we get that over as a lead to the sales rep or even target them online with different content. So I would say we're kind of in the beginning stages of that particular journey, getting what I call insights into the hands of reps. And in doing that, our reps, they embrace our digital technology, and that's not always a given.
Right.
And so what we've done is we've continually put the impetus into the hands of the reps to get these digital tools to their customers so that they can save time and not have to be that answering those texts on vacation. Like, I'm out of this product. Can you get me 3 stents? And the rep's like, oh gosh, I don't remember which stent you order. I got to call in and ask, which one so that I can look like I know your account. And so there's a lot of that going on where a rep is now much more empowered to serve more customers. And that obviously saves us, time and effort in making sure the sales force is focused on strategic selling.
My goodness. Well, this is, you just jam packed in about 5 minutes. So much great advice. We want to get Deirdre, your reaction to our LinkedIn poll. So, we asked our audience, as we do every week, this question, and what metric best captures the true influence of e-commerce on the overall business performance? That was this week's question. And really interestingly, the number one answer that the community voted on was lifetime customer value at 56%. Share of customer wallet, which you alluded to, was at 17, profitability per order at 17, and then average order value came in at 11. What's your reaction to this? Do you agree with this? Just given these limited choices?
I think this makes total sense. It goes back to looking at the total value you're getting out of a relationship with a customer, and that may be being purchased somewhere else. It may be you had a conversation that influenced something they did, and it goes back to what I was saying around the stickiness of having digital solutions that provide convenience to customers that they don't want to give up. So I think that's the first reaction I have. The order value is very interesting. I actually find this one to be almost the my anti-metric, We actually saw order value go down when we
Right.
launched e-commerce, and the convenience you're providing someone for them to be able to kind of what I call the Amazon effect of, oh, I need a pencil, oh, I need a sponge, oh, I need
Right. Right.
toilet paper, whatever it is, you just keep ordering. And so
Right.
order value has not been one that we typically track
Yeah.
because it just doesn't make sense.
I like that. The anti-metric. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, you're not alone in agreeing with, customer lifetime value. Tom Gaetos, who's a fractional CMO, he said lifetime value, this is on LinkedIn, lifetime value takes into account not only the direct e-commerce experience, but also halo effects, such as positive experiences you could have the entire relationship. But you need to have a fairly enlightened leadership team in order to recognize this value. So I was really reflective, I think, Deidre, of a lot of what you said to this. So, well, listen, we're just about up on time here. Deidre, it's absolutely awesome that you joined us. Thank you so much for being a part of our Friday 15 this week. Awesome advice, and people are well advised to listen to this session because there's a lot of good in what you said. So thank you very much.
I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me on, and have an amazing weekend.
You too. Thanks, Deirdre. Okay. So Andy, a couple quick announcements before we wrap our Friday 15 this week. Example, Master B2B Forum members. This is our forum, which is free for practitioners and a place where you can join and interact and network with peers. It's like almost like a virtual, LinkedIn just for e-commerce practitioners. So I encourage you to go to our website, masterb2b.com, look on forum, and you can apply for membership. We also have a lot of roundtables coming up. Andy, just in few weeks here next month in February. We'll be in Atlanta and Dallas, and also in Cleveland, Denver, Minneapolis, Charlotte, Cincinnati, LA, New York City, and St. Louis. These are late afternoon get-togethers, 20 to 25 executives, followed by discussions, followed by dinner, cocktail and dinner. It's going to be really great. I'm excited about these this year. We have a great list of people signed up for those. We also have our Mindshare Summit coming on March 12th, 2025. Which is at the University of Chicago's Gleacher Center. It's an awesome location. Nobel laureates hanging on the wall. It's all good. About 100 people here, guys. We're going to have a great event. It is for practitioners. We have a few spaces left. We're almost full. If you're a solution provider, we also have a couple of sponsorship spots left. So let us know if you're interested. Go to our website, masterb2b.com, click on events. And finally, I want to remind everyone that our podcast, this is available as a podcast format on Google, Apple, Spotify, and on our own website and YouTube. So check it out. Just search for our name and you'll find all of our Friday 15 episodes. Andy, any final words before we drop? And you're going to say no, but go ahead. Say no, but.
Well, Jared's going to yell at us for going especially long, but we've got a good excuse because Jared was great. The other thing is we're going to have a conversation about CLV. I feel like a podcast in our future might be about customer lifetime value because it's a great metric in theory. It's a very difficult metric in reality, but a very necessary one. So maybe we'll have a conversation about that in the next couple of weeks.
Let's see. All right, guys. We'll see you next week on our next Friday 15. Thanks, everyone, for joining.